Hello everyone, welcome to the marketplace. Coming up.
Right now, things are getting harder and harder at the end of the day. But seeing pure water, just 50 pesos, is too much.
It is too much for us. So if the government can come in and do something about it, it will be better.
As prices of goods and services go up, who is protecting the interests of consumers? Will be engaging Kofi Kapito, Chief Executive of the Consumer Protection Agency. Also coming up, Securities and Exchange Commission and Economic and Organized Crime Office to unmask faceless individuals behind online Ponzi schemes.
We have to warn the public that these entities are not licensed. We are still investigating and trying to get to the people behind them and deal with them the way they need to be dealt with.
And we will be at the Swami Light Industrial Area in Kumasi, where some artisans are resisting attempts by private developers to evict them.
Asante regional minister yesrawo samu tu ya free hadia yesu mu kopa ba bi me yentena na asaban e na de hama yen saban na tu ya dia.
If government is evicting us, they should get us a place. We'll resist any attempt to displace us.
Thanks for staying with us. Details coming up. And thanks for staying with us here on the marketplace. Expect inflation to go up again in September. That's the assertion by Head of Insights of Investment Bank, IC Securities, Courage Mate. He spoke to us yesterday, remember. According to him, the increase in utility tariffs, which took effect from the beginning of this month, will trigger a surge in inflation, a situation which will impact heavily on consumers. Inflation shot up to 33.9% in August, the highest in 21 years. Mr. Mate tells Joy Business the situation will not change soon because average prices of goods and services have gone up significantly.
It sounds very similar to what we are used to so far. This, at least for 15 consecutive months, it seems like same old story keep coming up every month when we pick our inflation print, and there seems to be a never-ending. There seems to be no end in sight currently, given the raft of shocks that we see to the system, and it appears there's still a bit more to come in terms of the increases when you look at the pressures that have hit the system and what has just or what's about to hit the system. If you disaggregate the non-food inflation component, utility carries the biggest weight of over 10% because you find out that it carries more than just water, electricity, and other fuel. So not only do you have energy prices having an impact, you also have the electricity tariffs and the water tariffs, and altogether carrying a bigger weight means that we will see likely another increase in headline inflation. Now, you typically, historically, will see headline inflation coming down in September because this is the point where you start to feel the benefit of food harvest. But on this particular occasion, we are not so bullish on the quantum of food harvest, and we are even bearish as a result of the utility tariff hikes. So we could see another increase in the September print for headline inflation. When you pick the inflation basket and you look at the areas that are driving the inflation push, you would notice that inflation is typically very high for necessities, and these are goods or items you need to survive. Now, if that is the case, you then would expect that individuals will go into survival mode. And so it will be like consumption first, and you would require paying a very high interest rate to incentivize them to part with consumption for investment.
And while like Courage Mate points out, we are going to see prices rise further following the increase in utility tariffs. Already, producers of sachet and bottled water have increased prices effective next week. A sachet of water will now be sold at 50 pesos. Yes, they are citing the high cost of production. I'm talking about the producers. Here's how some consumers are reacting to this news.
The situation right now, things are getting harder and harder at the end of the day. But seeing pure water, just 50 pesos, is too much. And they should do something about it because water does not even cost much. Now, look at how the system is. I don't think it's going to be possible, so they should do something about it.
What I will say is that it is too much for us. So if the government can come in and do something about it, it will be better. Because right now, while your child is going to school, it means that water alone, you are going to give him about 1 cedi for water alone, and it will be too much.
It's an economic hardship, so we just have to cope. For now, there's nothing we can do. We can't say we won't stop drinking water. We only plead with the sellers to reduce it for us. If it's 2 cedi, I have 1 cedi 50 pesos. I mean, you should be able to negotiate.
Oh, it is very, very good. We are going forward. You see, the country is going forward, and because of that, they have to increase the price of everything. Now, what we'll be doing is, now you drink a lot of water from the house before coming, because there's no way we can afford it. But it is good. It is good. The government is doing everything right. Yes.
Well, how much water can you drink, really? Joining me, Chief Executive of the Consumer Protection Agency, Kofi Kapito, to address some of these concerns. I want us to begin with this specific concern about the increase in the price of sachet water to 50 pesos. I couldn't believe it myself. The producers are citing high cost of production. They are talking about an increase in utility tariffs. We have not even received the bill. Fuel. We've not received the bill for the month. You'd expect that they'll wait to assess, or how much do we have to pay from the previous month. And you heard the consumers there. Some of them think it's unjustified. What do you say?
It's unjustified to a certain extent. And I also agree with the sachet water producers to another extent. We all know everything is going up. I can't blame the manufacturers of the sachet water. I mean, they are not Father Christmas.
They are not.
They are businessmen. But I like a comment that one of your insets said that we should beg them for them to have mercy on us. So maybe the profit margins, they should look at it. If they can even do it for them to stay in business, not to go broke or bust, and then wait for a better time, I think it will be ideal.
I guess the question is, when is a better time?
No, I'm just saying, because we are going through crisis worldwide. But to me, I have a problem with what government is doing to augment this hardship. In other jurisdictions, you see government efforts to make sure that the citizens are cushioned. I'll give you a typical example. I went to America 29 July. When I got to America, petrol was $5 a gallon. I just came back on Saturday. Petrol is now down from $5 to $3.50.
Right, and fuel prices are going down globally, but even here they tell you the city is not doing well. So
that is my point. But the cedi and the dollar and the pound, they always fluctuate. The dollar and the yen, they fluctuate. As if it's only Ghana that the cedi fluctuates against the dollar. There are certain commodities that I agree because we use so much dollar to bring. But time has come that we need to look at profit margins. Other jurisdictions, like I said, Biden even issued a warning to manufacturers and people doing business that they should consider some of their profit margins so that the consumers would enjoy. The question is, if you don't do that and you don't have any consumers, how do you make money?
Yeah.
You see, it's a give and take. I agree. Like somebody said in the United States, everything is going up except our paychecks. You know, our paychecks are not going up. But in other jurisdictions, people make decent salary.
And there are social intervention.
Social interventions. Here, there's no even when we do social interventions, it's politicized. They ask you, are you NDC? Are you MPP? So how do we even cater for the masses? Look, government needs to play a big role, and time has come. We always talk about government. Well, you tell them to cut down their expenditure. They will cut some small bit, and they make it look like they've done you a big favor. No, in other jurisdictions, look, I've seen, I don't know about here, but America, they call them school districts. When they are going through hard times, if they have 3 buses going on a route, they will sell one so that they'll be able to make money to cater for the schools. Here, we're talking about the school feeding program, which is a wonderful social intervention. Yes, marvelous, anyway. Great. Look at it now. Something that if maybe you could not even afford some higher cost of some food products, at least you know that when your children go to school, they'll be fed and they'll be fed healthily, not this co-meaning food that they are giving them.
Yeah, and like you point out, we know prices of items are going up. We can't help it. Something has to be done. But then it appears that there's no regulation. People, should I say, rate their prices based on emotions. It's like, oh, today this thing has gone up, so I'm going to add 50 pesos to it. I'm going to add 10 pesos. Nobody is regulating. Nobody's, actually saying, no, add this amount to this because this is by how much it has increased.
Let me surprise you. We are not operating a price control system in Ghana.
We are not.
We have an open market. It'll be difficult.
It's a free market.
It's a free market. But we were hoping that competition should have made it a little better. Because competition breeds better business.
Oh, we are not saying that.
That's what I'm saying. We were hoping that by opening up, by doing a free market, unfortunately, our industrial base is very weak. Ghana is basically dependent on about 70% importation. If you depend 70% on import, look, not too long ago, Nkatia Burger was imported. Nkatia Burger. And there are some of the local products that are also highly overpriced. There's a woman in Laboni. She packages peanuts, plantains, chips and stuff. I want to buy a small container of peanuts. The other day, it's 38 cedis.
Or people say they can't buy Coffee Brookman anymore.
No, I agree, but peanuts go with Coffee Brookman. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
So if I can even afford the Coffee Brookman and I cannot afford the peanut to go with it, the peanut is the nutrients.
Yeah.
Because the peanut gives you a better source of nutrients than just the Coffee Brookman. Coffee Brookman, like I said, I left in July. In July, I went to Tema, TDC, just across the street. A lady roasts Coffee Brookman. Just a slice, the whole plantain that she slices like 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. She sold one slice for me for 4 cedis.
Yeah, I got the shock. I think at that time somebody went to buy beans and plantain and...
You people call it gobe or whatever, yes.
And the slice of plantain and the cost of it, I was just so surprised.
Yeah, because you see, there was a guy many years ago. His name is Kwawu. Mm-hmm. Kwawu was a parliamentarian from Kwawu area. And the guy displayed how magicians Ghanaians are. Back in the day, Ghanaians were paid 3 cedis. He bought breakfast. He bought lunch. Then he bought dinner. The breakfast was cocoa and kose, something like that. It was 1 cedi. And then lunchtime, he bought gobe or roasted plantain, and it was also 1 cedi.
Yeah.
And then dinner, he bought kenke and fish. It was also 1 cedi. So his question is, why does a person even get transport money to go to? Because it's 3 cedis a day.
A day.
You spend all your 3 cedis. Where's the reserve? So he kept the term Ghanaians are magicians. And I think we are still in that environment.
It should be, because I can't, I don't know how people are surviving these days. And so, from the talk, it looks like we are helpless even as consumers when it comes to who is protecting our interests right now, looking at the way things are going.
Like the guy said, I will plead with the sachet water people. You see, it's not always that you have to make 100% profit. Okay, in business, that's where businesses will tell you that...
Pay salaries.
But businesses will tell you that, we didn't do too well compared to last year. Because last year, their profit was 100%. This year, it's 80%. They say they've made losses, but it's profit. I get to my point. Yeah. So you can sometimes forgive some of your profit just to sustain your customer base, just to sustain. That's why in other jurisdictions, even employees are told that, look, sir, we don't want to fire you, okay? Because if you fire you, you might not get a job. But guess what? Take a paycheck. And a better day, we would reverse it back to you. It's done everywhere.
So what we can do right now is just plead. That's all we can do.
That's why we have a government. I get to my point. Mm-hmm. That's why we have a government. That's why we voted for people to be in charge of our destiny. Yes, I understand that you should be in charge of your own destiny. But when your salary, like I said, everything is going up, apart from our paychecks, what do you expect the Ghanaian worker to do?
And just to be clear, because you operate a free market, there can't be systems in place to check prices?
The only thing that can be a price check is when government himself. Okay, I'll give you a typical example. I'm against premix fuel being subsidized because the fisher folks don't sell it at the government reduced price.
Oh, the cost of fish.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up, they had the food distribution, they had the corporate, Ghana Food Corporation, and all those places. Those were government institutions. Government control the prices there. It's just like going to a food bank in some advanced countries, because it's government buying it on behalf of the people. Government says that this is how I'm going to price it. That is that is somehow social intervention. But in Ghana, like I said, premix to me should be scrapped. It's a political thing that is not even benefiting Ghanaians. When was the last time you went to the fishmonger and the first one, the second one, the third one will sell it to you at the same price? I get to my point. Yeah. So why are we wasting our time? Those resources can be redirected to make sure that, yes, let's open some fishing shops in, is it 200 now? We have what, 200 and something districts. How many districts do we have now?
So 236.
200 and something like that. Let's open one at every shop. Let's tell the fisher folks that take some of your concern. That is the reason why we are giving you that subsidy on the premix. Because the woman selling the tomato, she's not getting any subsidy. Because the driver buys the petrol at full cost. But somebody who is selling fish gets a subsidy. And they are selling it as much as the person who doesn't have a subsidy on tomato. It is not fair. Ghana, we don't think outside the box. Honestly, everything is political. Oh, how do I get voted back into power?
We've got to run up, but I also want to ask you about this other big story that we have been covering for days, to do with the SIM card registration and the fact that some subscribers' numbers are being blocked. They can't use data. I mean, from the perspective of a consumer, how do we approach this? You know, I am very, very disappointed in the telcos in the sense that they should even show government that it is not prudent in terms of business. You cannot cut. Government should also even look at the revenue that he expects to make. If you block based on the numbers that are here is being blocked, can government afford to lose that taxes? Look, we all agree, I'm 100% behind SIM registration. The whole thing starts from the fact that the law is one of the most ridiculous laws ever passed in Ghana. I'll tell you the reason why. I'm so disappointed in parliamentarians. And I'm talking about parliamentarians on both sides who sat and made a law that you can only use the national ID card to register. When I have a passport, which is biometric, when I have a driver's license, which is biometric, even to the extent that my passport is accepted internationally. Right. Why are you telling me that I cannot use this digitized? Okay, if it's about data collection, my driver's license has a biodata. My passport has a biodata. So why can't you just also use it? And plus, I already have a number. When I did the first registration, they took a form of identification. It's the law that has brought all this mayhem. And I'm telling the minister, please, every law is made for the people. So when the people are crying, exercise patience. See how we can meet. You talk about, she said, oh, there's an app. There is even a challenge with the app. Yeah, we've heard reports of that. Yes, the other day, was it yesterday, a friend of mine, he said, oh, his phone was blocked. Then all of a sudden, his phone started ringing. About an hour later, the phone was blocked again. How does one go through this? All these things, we need to sit. I'm not against the SIM registration. I'm 100% behind it. But the question is, when the people that it's supposed to protect is telling you that I just left my niece at the NIA office. Even though the numbers have come down, go and see the amount of people still at the NIA. I'm talking about the headquarters. Yeah. Because, you know, when you go to the district and the regional offices, they don't even have cards. So one has to travel all the way from Goso, Mehame, Ayomuso to come and do it. Why? Because those areas that I don't have to travel, this thing should have been a lot easier. Banks could have registered it. Post office could have done it. Schools could have done it. We don't think outside the box. Are you getting my point? When you are deploying such a huge and important exercise like that, you need to look at everything that will make, listen, human beings do know what we like.
convenience. I will not waste my 3 days doing that. At a certain point, I will give up. But if the process is easy, if it takes 30 minutes, 1 hour, I can take my lunch break and sacrifice and go and do it. What if I come back to work and my job says, because you've been gone for 4 hours, I've sacked you?
Yeah.
I get to my point. The minister should exercise some patience, have some cool heads, listen. Other stakeholders, because there are interest in there.
Okay.
The takers have an interest, the government has an interest, and we, the people, also have an interest.
We've got to leave it here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
It was great to speak with you, and thank you for all the work you do for consumers.
I hope there are more issues, so you should invite me.
Definitely. Always welcome Kofi Kapito, the Chief Executive of the Consumer Protection Agency. Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission has pledged to intensify its collaboration with the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, to unmask faceless individuals behind activities of Ponzi schemes, online Ponzi schemes for that matter. The two institutions have warned the public to desist from investing in some 17 unlicensed investment firms through online channels. According to SEC, its investigation team is working with the security services and other stakeholders to track these culprits and bring them to book. Reverend Daniel Ogwami-Tete is Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission.
The SEC has signed an MOU with EOCO, and this is not strange. Actually, the SEC has had a long-standing collaboration with EOCO, because basically the mandates of the two entities, if you like, are complementary. So the SEC's mandate is to regulate and promote the growth and development of an efficient, fair and transparent securities market in which investors and the integrity of the market are protected, while EOCO, on the other hand, has a mandate to prevent and detect organized crime and generally to facilitate the confiscation of the proceeds of crime. We'll be having joint training where, as it were, we learn from EOCO, EOCO also learns from us, so that we can do better with respect to our mandate. We also expect from the MOU to share information, and then we would also be issuing a joint statement, and I think we have recently issued one warning the general public about some 17 entities that are operating, that we believe that the investing public should be careful when they are approached by any of these entities. Well, in terms of the outcomes that we envisage from the signing of this MOU, one, I would say that we expect for the capacity of staff at both EOCO and SEC to be deepened, following from the training sessions that we'll be having. I expect, secondly, greater efficiency in addressing issues in relation to financial crimes. I expect that we can be more proactive.
Now, some artisans at a section of the Swami Light industrial area in Kumasi are resisting attempts by private developers to evict them. Leaders of the artisans at the Zone 12 enclave, which covers about 16 acres of land, said their occupancy is backed by an executive instrument. Nana Aljima reports the artisans have vowed to face off with the developers.
Executive Instrument 36 explicitly vests some lands at the Swam Magazine Light Industrial Enclave in the government. The lands have since been handed over to artisans for the creation of the industrial area. For more than 4 decades, the Zone 12 section has accommodated thousands of artisans specializing in servicing and maintenance of vehicles. But some private developers are now laying claim to the parcel of land, making various attempts to eject the artisans. Farm farmers appear lead the aggrieved occupants.
In 1997,
in 1997, we received information that the government has passed an executive instrument over the land. It was since handed over to us. How come someone is now laying claim to it? When did Parliament withdraw the instrument?
Obi obabi ba say yaton ho ama no. Ah, obi say say wo krata. Na executive instrument agi asase a ekọ parliament abai a onunya krata. Enu ti na say entiase no.
Few weeks ago, some private developers with police protection were at the enclave to demolish some structures. The artisans have, however, vowed to resist any attempt to evict them without any proof of revocation of the executive instrument.
President Kufuor Abreso otu Anwaga Junction for ni firi ho no okoma wo musokoban village am.
Whenever government evicts traders, they relocate them, so we deserve same.
Yes, salute you. Okoma wo ba bi tonight ene Ashanti regional minister yesrew samu tu ya free ha de a yeso mu kopa ba bi me yentena na asaban ene de ha ma yen saban na tu ya de a.
If government is evicting us, they should get us a place. We'll resist any attempt to displace us.
What the one ma dia yate wona ya ban ya de ni anim se bia wo ya kwan ya no beba mu ami atwe ho na se odi ma obi dia ti se de menua odi kan no okasa ye no a wona de won pe ba bi ma yen.
Efforts to reach the Swami Municipal Security Council over the matter have not been successful.
Well, that story wrapping up the bulletin for us. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl Kwawu. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time tomorrow.